Well, once again, folks, here we are, Poorboy's Paranormal Podcast, coming to you from the great state of Oklahoma. Gonna get down and dirty with some South Texas and West Texas fellas. I have got a highly anticipated show, one that I've been trying to track down for a few months now. Mr. Bobby Garza from West Texas.
South Texas.
South Texas. Okay, we got two South Texas. And then, of course, as everybody knows, the way I roll, I've got my main man from South Texas. Anytime we got anybody from South Texas, I always bring Joe DeHoya in. He helps me he's my boots on the ground down there. And we've got this finally planned out, ready to go. And I'm going to back out of here just a little bit because my throat is killing me today, and let Joe and Bobby talk Squatch. We're going to talk Squatch. We're going to talk all kinds of cryptids. We're just going to get to know Mr. Bobby Garza and what he's doing down in South Texas today. Bobby, how you doing today, man?
Pretty good, Gary. It's nice, pleasure to be on your show. I've been listening to you lately, ever since we talked. Pretty interested to be on your show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. My brother from another mother, Joe, what are you doing, man?
Not too much, man. Just doing this laundry day for me down here, so just staying around the house today.
Well, that must be nice.
How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing good, Bobby. How about yourself, buddy? Good to finally talk to you, man.
Pretty good, man. Yeah. It's been a while, but we've talked before.
Yeah.
How you been?
Not too bad. Not too bad. You ready for the holidays?
Oh, that's good. Oh yeah, we're getting prepared.
So, Bobby, why don't you just kind of start the ball rolling here? I'd really like to hear how you got into the cryptid field. I mean,
you said you broke up a little bit there.
That's my voice. Sorry, guys. How do you actually get into the cryptid field?
Oh, okay. It started like about 2.5 years ago. It was April 2nd, 2017. I was working in this little town named Choate, which is, I'm from Beeville, Texas. And next town north is Normanna, which is Bigfoot land there. A little bit north of that is Pettis. Well, if you go east of Pettis, it's like maybe 15 miles, a little town named Choate. Well, I was working for a vacuum company as a truck driver, and I was coming home one evening, and I was driving back, and it was right before dark. It wasn't even dark yet, but real close to dark. And I was just happened to go over a hill. When I drove over that hill, I saw something I could not understand what it was until later. But when it crossed the road, to me, I told myself, what is an ape doing out here? That's a huge ape. So I sped up and stopped where we were across the road, and I looked, and I couldn't see it. I couldn't find it. But what I know now, I have a feeling what it did. But when I pulled up, I thought about getting down, and I told myself, I kind of got the chills. I said, I'm not going to get down. That thing was huge and wide. I mean, it looked solid black on two legs, bipedal. I mean, hunched over a little, arm swinging as it was running, and I just couldn't understand what it was. It looked like an ape. And I stopped there, and I looked around, and I couldn't see it. And I took off. I got chills on my arms, and I just took off. Well, I put it on my Facebook, and I got people laughing at me because I put, wow, I just saw a freaking Bigfoot. And everybody started laughing. What are you doing? Are you on drugs? Are you drinking? I'm like, no, I'm getting out of work. It's like I could not understand what I saw here. And
wow.
I know what I saw. And people are like, people say, oh, it's probably a cow or old horse. But in my books, there's no way it could have been. And then it ran so fast. It ran as fast as a deer can get across the road, probably even faster. And if I would have blinked my eye, I would have missed it probably, But ever since then, I've been all about Bigfoot and interested in getting leads and trying to get evidence and trying to contact people that are dealing with it, So since then, I've been researching this creature, It's just something new and something that I think about every single day.
Would you say that it consumes you?
Yes, it does. I've spoken to several people, and I've told them, kind of wish I didn't see this thing, kind of like taking over a little bit of my life. It's something, something new in your whole lifetime. You see something, and you know what it is. Eventually, you know what you saw, and something tells me, hey, this shouldn't be there. That's wrong. It's not. It shouldn't be here. I mean, what you've grown up to see and know. It just doesn't fit in.
I hear you. I hear you. It definitely changes your whole aspect on things. How long ago did that sighting
Yes.
happen?
It was April 2nd, 2017.
And do you mind me asking what general vicinity of South Texas? Don't say exactly where, but
Well, east of Pettis, a little town east of Pettis, like 5 miles east. Just running across the county road.
wow. Joe, how far
And
is that from you? I
yeah,
mean, what how, is that in your research area?
I would say maybe a couple hour drive from Houston. I've never been to that area, but that's what I'm thinking of, a couple hour drive. I gotta look on the map, of course, but yeah, it's nothing too far,
Oh,
for me to
wow.
drive. Yeah.
So, Bobby, this happened pretty recently, and then you just kind of jumped full force into it then.
yeah, it made me jump into it. I mean, I just wanted to know what they are, and I just got really interested in it and started watching everything on YouTube. Half of it's not true, but you start to learn what's true and what's not, and start picking up on things, and that's how I got involved, and kind of like uh, one day I had an old friend that hadn't talked to in years get in contact with me and say, "Hey, I heard you saw a Bigfoot." I said, "Yes, I did." And he's well, you're not gonna believe me, Bobby, but I got one living on my property. And this is how it all began, right there. When he called me, that was the day it opened a big door for me. And I told him, I said, "Hey," I said, "come on, man." I said, I kind of don't believe you, man." And he's like, he kind of got upset with me. He goes, "Hey, I believe you that you saw one. Why can't you believe me?" Like, he was dead serious. I thought he was joking.
Wow.
And I said, "Well, what? Let me ask you one question." I said, "One, is there even a creek around your property? I mean, close by or anything around there, like a creek?" He said, 10 foot from my backyard. Like, I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, the the fence, 10 feet starts creek. There's a creek there. So that kind of opened my ears a little bit. Like, oh, okay, really? So what makes you think it's a Bigfoot? That's another question of mine. And he goes, well, one evening, me and my grandson were on the back porch, and it was late at night, like 10 o'clock, and we were doing something on the porch with the light on, and all of a sudden, he goes, "I heard something scream at the edge of the fence line so loud that it made me jump and grab my grandson and run in the house. And the fence line is probably like, I would say like 60 yards, 50 yards away from the porch. And it made him jump and grab his grandson, run in the house, and he started looking out the window and couldn't see anything. And he said, it's just like I ask everybody, well, what kind of sound did it make? And you know what 80% of the people say? I just can't explain it. And I'm pretty sure y'all gone through that already. If you're somebody that are researching or ask questions about Bigfoot, and somebody hears something out of the ordinary and believe it's a Bigfoot, that's one key that I've picked up on, is that I just can't explain it. I just can't do the sound. And that's a lot of people. I mean, I've gotten over 60 stories and reports and followed up on most of them, not all, every single one, because I just can't do it.
Yeah.
But most of them are follow-ups. But I have a few that I just can't get to them. But that's one thing that I noticed. People can't relay the sound of what they heard, and that's how I started going over there. So that kind of grabbed my attention and started putting game cams up there and visiting property like 3-4 times a week. That's when I first started off, and I was pretty gung ho. I was like, 4 times a week was not enough for me to get out there at least an hour or two. Was not enough. But that's how
Wow.
I started jumping into this.
That how far from your house was that? Where they had that sighting that you're going over there 3 or 4 times a week.
Uh, okay, the property that my buddy, it's like 1 mile. I mean, I'm in town. So that's just the edge skirts of Beeville. It's really close.
Oh, okay.
Um, and the sighting that I first had it's like probably like 20 minutes from my house. But that's how I got involved. I mean, a lot of people think I'm crazy. Oh yeah, he thinks Bigfoot exists. And, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that say that, but I know I know what I saw. There's nothing else in the world that can change my mind about this. It's what it is. And I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all, a lot of people that are listening or will be listening, they've gone through this. People, ridicule them and stuff like that. But it doesn't really bother me too much, because to me, I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones that got to see something that most of the world hasn't seen. To
Absolutely.
me, it feels like a gift.
A gift? I look at it more like a curse myself, but you being in that Beeville area, Joe, that is kind of your area, but that's a kind of a hotbed down there, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. There's actually
Yeah,
few sightings down in down that way. Yeah, because even before I met Bobby online, I had seen some reports from that area, and then after I saw Bobby was down there, I said, "Shoot, I need to friend this guy right away."
Is
yeah.
there,
There's a lot of reports in there.
Bobby? Could you give us
I
kind of
believe.
a? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when you get through saying what you was fixing to say, could you give us kind of just a general description of that area? The topographically wise, and terrain.
Yeah, it's pretty flat. It's not too hilly. It's pretty flat. It's a lot of weesach and some oak trees where I live. There's quite a few oak trees in certain areas, but it's weesach, stuff like that. The brush line's not really the brush not really too tall. I mean, maybe a high point, maybe if you're looking in somebody's property, maybe 10 foot, 12 foot, of brush, except for the trees, of course. It's pretty thick in a lot of areas, so I'm pretty sure there's a lot of places for these creatures to bed down and hide and get comfy there. But it's pretty flat, I believe. It's real, it's green, it's tall grass and areas, stuff like that.
A lot of farms.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of farms around the area, around the county. Some big ranches also, and a lot of these big ranches have creeks, a lot of creeks in them. And I've already talked to a lady that has a few thousand acres, and she has a lot of creeks in her property. I'm wanting to get on that property, but I tried contacting her and I never got a reply back. But I got her phone number one day.
That was gonna be my next question. Is there a lot of creeks and rivers down there? In your personal opinion, what do you think brings the target species into that area?
I think the deer and the pig, but I mean, who knows? I've noticed that. My belief is that they're populating, a lot in this little area, Normanna and Pettis area. More people have seen these creatures in that area than any area around that I know of. But I believe they're more concentrated in the Normanna and Medio Creek area.
Really? Just in your personal opinion, say wild guess on how much of a population?
That's very hard to determine. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think anybody will even get close to the amount of these animals, their population. If you just said come up with a number, I would say 40.
Okay.
In the county, maybe even 30.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. I could be massively wrong. I mean, it could
Yeah.
be 10. I really don't know. But I know there's a few. I mean, different ones because like one landowner has seen two of them together, and they were like 5.5 foot tall. One was like 5 foot. I got another property owner that seen two also standing next to each other. One was like 7.5, and the other was 5.5, and was standing right up against his fence line, looking at him while he was cutting the grass.
Ooh.
And it caught his attention really quick, and he panicked and screamed at him, because he didn't know what to do. He didn't know. Well, he already knew he had a clue that they were living on his property, but to see them kind of face to face within like 50 to 60 feet,
Oh,
he kind
wow.
of panicked, and he screamed at him, and they went on their fours and ran through the woods. Well,
Wow.
crawled through the woods.
Do you
Yeah, he's had a lot of. No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask if you had any aggressive reports from that area?
Aggressive. Well, I've had some aggressive on that same property that I was just talking about, but towards the dogs. I mean, nothing towards the family or the kids, the grandkids, something like that. an example. One day he woke up early in the morning to use the restroom, right? So he gets up, he's using the restroom, and he hears something loud and clear, something running towards the house, like full speed. And then he hears a cat just scream bloody murder. And then he's about finished, so he runs to the front and opens the front door, and he hears the barbed wire across the street bounce. Like, you know how barbed wire, you hold it, it makes a sound.
Yeah.
And he looked where that happened, so he ran up to the county road there across the street and just stood there quietly. And he heard something in a big, huge lung capacity, breathing heavily. And he yelled at it. And he went, "Hey!" And it just shut up completely, like no sound after that. And after that, he was like really scared because he took the cat just in one swipe of a run, you know. And he kind of got scared. If he can do that, what could he do to his grandkids or, you know?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
kind of worried about that.
Oh, yeah. Did he end up having a cat go missing?
Well, it wasn't his cat. It was a neighbor's cat.
Oh, I got you.
And, well, the people never knew about it, I guess. It just disappeared.
Joe, you've had a lot of reports in your area like that, haven't you?
Yeah, especially like up around like the San Houston area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had reports of dogs come up missing or even torn in half. Yeah. They'll definitely go after animals, livestock too, for that matter. There's a certain area up here, and they've had a bunch of animals come up missing.
Interesting. The reason I was saying is with y'all being so geographically close, if you're only a couple hours away, does the Sam Houston area, is it pretty much geographically like the area down in Beeville, or is it different?
No, it's totally different.
Okay.
Sam Houston it's pretty much just a vast forest. Down where he's at, there's wooded area here and there, I would think, right, Bobby?
Yeah.
I haven't been down that way, but in a long time. But I know that it's been years. But I know you'll go through patches of wooded area.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say about the creeks and stuff like that. Some of those creeks are pretty deep. Anything can walk around those creeks and move. And that's one thing I always say. Especially when it comes to like flat land like that just because there's no cover per se, these animals can still get around.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So the Beeville would be probably more like where I'm from here in central Oklahoma, where it's just kind of rolling hills, lots of farmlands. Around your rivers, you have a lot of oak patches and a lot of woodlands around your rivers, but then you'll go from woods to grasslands to wood to grasslands, every few miles. So
yeah, I think so. Like I said, I'm not familiar with that area, but
Bobby, you've been taking. You said you had about 60 reports, and then we covered the aggressiveness. Have you had any serious vocals, shot at you since you've been doing research, or have you had any? I guess just kind of, if you wouldn't mind, just kind of run us through some of the sightings you've had and some of the vocals and stuff. Because me and Joe's both very big into vocals. We love the audio side of things because I think that's where we're going to get more common information across the species, if you understand what I'm saying. Because the vocals.
Yeah. Okay. When I started going to that property there in Beeville, when I first went, I think I went once or twice and didn't hear or see anything, of course. Like the third time I went out there, we were sitting in the creek just talking. Me and the landowner were just talking, and I hear a whoop loud and clear, but from a distance. And I told my buddy, I said, "Do you hear that?" He goes, "I hear that all the time. What is that?" I said, "That sounds like a Bigfoot. I mean, just listen to it." And he did it 3 times. And, I never even thought, hey, let me grab my phone. Let me record this sound,
Yeah.
It doesn't dawn on you when it just happens. It's just something that you're not planning to. And it whooped 3 times, loud, clear, like something that there's no way a human can produce that sound that loud in the distance it was. There's just no way, And we heard that. There was another time we're in the creek. This was later, like the year after. He had told me he had heard it try to speak when a pit bull attacked it, and I already kind of knew that, the samurai chatter, what they call, I kind of like picked up on that, and kind of listened to, the Sierra, sounds and all that, and I kind of got an idea of what they sound like on the internet, and that one evening we went to the creek. I think we were collecting the SD cards on the game cams, and not far at all. I mean, literally, I would say 80 feet, maybe 100 foot away. I heard say something that I couldn't understand, but loud and clear. And I think I did this in front of Gabriel one day, and he goes, "Well, what did it sound like?" I don't know, man. It sounded like kind of like just a mumble. And I was like, "What? Do you hear that?" And I told my buddy, "I said, you hear that?" He goes, "That's him." He goes, "Let's get out of here." And he started cutting out to speak. I said, "Hold on. Let's wait. I want to hear what he's trying to say or what he's trying to do. Hold on." And then they heard it again, and then we didn't hear it no more. We walked out of the creek, but it sounded just like mumbles, deep mumbles, like someone with a big, loud voice. And I don't think it was human. There was no houses back there. It's all field and woods, and there shouldn't be anybody back there. I mean, and for them to mumble and sound like that, it couldn't have been a human, because a human would have said, "Hey," or "Who's back there?" Or, you know what I'm saying? It would have come out with some words. And for it to be that close, we didn't hear it move, walk, nothing. So it kind of like just sitting there and mumbling, but no telling.
That's interesting.
So when you heard that voice, did you feel like it was directed at you, or do you feel like maybe it was just vocalizing either by itself or there's something else? I was just asking. So when you heard that voice, could you tell if it was like directed towards you, or was it directed towards something else?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, definitely towards us. I mean, it sounded like somebody was trying to tell us something. And I believe maybe we were just too close to it. He didn't want us too close. So he was trying to let us know, "Hey, I'm right here. Keep back." That's what I felt. But no telling, man. I mean, I just know it wasn't human. There was no way it was human. It just sounded too deep, too loud. No words that were in our dictionary that came out of that mouth. So it was just like mumbles. I have another little story there on that same property. One day, the landowner was washing dishes with his wife around 9 o'clock at night, and I think I posted this on Gabriel's group. And this creature, he lives in a trailer house, so the windows are like 7 foot. The kitchen window is like 7 foot, and he was washing dishes, and the window was open, and this creature was standing literally 2 foot from the window.
Wow!
And boy, when he looked up, he jumped back and screamed. And his wife goes, "What's wrong with you?" He goes, "You just won't believe what I just saw." And he kind of told her, and she didn't believe him. And she always had negative thoughts about what he was saying that lived on the property, and so he stopped talking about it towards her, about it around the house and stuff like that. But it sure did scare him. I mean, he was like shaking. He didn't, it surprised him, put it that way.
I bet. That'd scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, shit. Hey,
that's crazy. There was a lot of other things. One day he was cutting the backyard again, and this was before the time he saw 2 of them. And he was pushing the lawnmower, and he happened to look in the creek. He says that these creatures, when he's out there cutting grass, they like to set up and watch him. Like they're curious of what he's doing and stuff like that. So he was pushing the lawnmower, and he saw a little movement in the darkest spot of the creek, and he kind of kept his eye on it, kept on pushing the lawnmower, and he could see his face. He was turning right to left, and so when he got to a stopping point by the house, he ran inside and grabbed his binoculars, and of course his gun, and he stood out there, and it was gone. But we've noticed that this creature comes up to the trampoline. I guess before he really knew that it was coming up to the house, and it had there's some tall grass behind the trampoline, and it's all smashed down all the way from his little trail that he has on the side of the property. And we believe that he come up to the trampoline and watch the kids jump, and literally really close, like literally like 25 feet away from the trampoline. So that's kind of creepy, man.
Yeah, that's a little bit unnerving. I don't know if I'd like that, regardless of how many times it's done it. I don't know if I'd like that.
Yeah, that's creepy. That's a little too close for comfort there.
So they've had an ongoing situation with the target species there. How long has that been happening on that property?
Oh, definitely, lots of times. Even the daughter. I think, you know what? I remember one day. This is so funny because I brought Gabriel property like I think twice. And we sat up there one night, and the landowner's daughter came out, and she goes outside. She goes, "What are y'all doing?" Oh, we just said, "No, we're waiting for Bigfoot." And she goes, "Y'all are stupid. Y'all really think there's a Bigfoot out there?" And we kind of ignored her, and their dad said, "Go inside." Anyways, it was so funny because like 3 weeks later, she happened to see it, and seen it like not face to face, but walking on the trail next door to the fence line there. And when I pulled up one day, she goes, "Hey, Bobby, you won't believe what I saw." I said, "What? You finally saw it, huh?" And she goes, "Yes." She goes, "Oh my God, I'm never going outside again." I said, "I told you, it's out there. Y'all don't believe me."
That and all this stuff happened on the same property that you're talking about, where they had the face to face up on the at the window, right?
Yes, big property. Yeah.
Wow. How long of a period of time has all this happened?
They were there. I want to say 3-4 years. Um, Started noticing like a year after they had moved in. Like started noticing, and I think, yeah, they just barely moved out. So
Oh,
they kind of got tired of dealing with that animal, and always had that little fear, couldn't let the kids go out. So they moved. They just recently moved, like I think a few weeks ago. Cause last time I talked to them, they had moved. But kind of interested to see who else is going to rent that place out and who's going to move in. I kind of want to talk to them with somebody else that's moving there, because I kind of want to give them a heads up what's going on. You know, I don't want to scare them, but I'm going to let them know the truth, you know, because I'm pretty sure they'll have kids or grandkids or somebody out there outside, you know.
yeah, of course.
And I want to ask you something too, Bobby. I don't mean to go all the way backwards, but I wanted to ask you this. So when you had your first sighting, and you said that you thought it was an ape, how long did it take you to come to the realization of what you had actually seen?
How long? What? I missed that part.
How long did you actually come to the realization as to what you actually saw when you first sighting?
Uh, it was it was like I saw it. I stopped. I looked. I got the chills. I took off. And when I got to the stop sign, I kind of looked back just to see if it was following me, because it looked like a huge creature, you know, ape creature, you know, that I've never seen in my life. And I had to look back just to see if it was following me. But when I got to the stop sign, I called my wife. She was the first person. I called my wife. I said, "Hey." She goes, I said, "You won't believe what I just saw." She goes, "What?" And I said, "I think I saw a big ape run across the county road. I mean, it's just weird. Like, and I was just going full speed with it." She was like, "A Bigfoot?" And that just, boom, that just hit me right there. I said, "You know what? That's probably what it was. It had to have been. I mean, what's big, tall, apish looking, you know, that tall and wide?" And I told her, I said, "It had to have been a Bigfoot. It had to have been." And ever since then, it all matched up. After I learned more what I know, and what I knew, well, what I know now, and I didn't know then, what it did, it jumped over the fence and belly flopped and hid in the tall grass. That's why I couldn't see it, because I pulled up right up to where he crossed, and I didn't see it running, and there was no way for him to get into the brush line. This thing was So he was either hiding behind a tree or down in the grass. I believe he was down on the grass. Since I've got so many reports that they run and jump and they're belly flopped and hiding in the grass, but or hiding behind a tree. But I think that's what happened. I'm glad I didn't get down because then I would have been probably face to face with this thing. I would have been traumatized.
It does
Yeah.
traumatize you getting face to face with them. Believe you me, I know.
That's I like that. That's pretty good. Them getting down on their belly like you said. That's a pretty good possibility.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, here's my question of the day, and then I think I know Joe. He always asks a question about game cameras, but Bobby, in all your reports down there in the Beeville area, y'all have a lot of ranches and farms. Have you ever come across like the top two strands of barbed wire twisted together in reported
Yes.
sighting areas?
Yes. One in Pettis. Actually two. Two. One in Pettis. Guy I work with told me that he hears yells and screams. And he said that in this area that by the creek, he says there's a brush line and it starts to brush. He says his barbed wire's twisted on the top, on like one up on top of the other, like if they're somebody's like like hunters do. I
Uh
mean, I
huh.
used to hunt all my life, and you know how hunters do. They'll stick the barbed wire on top of the other so they can easily get between the barbed wire and move on. And and then I had another guy that says that his dad swears up and down there's an elk in the creek in B County, and I told him, oh, there's no elk out here. I said it's something else, not elk. And he's about barbed wire is the same way. I asked him many different things I'll find out there, and that was one of the things he brought up that his barbed wire were pinned up on each other.
Really?
Is that the question you were asking here?
Yeah, yeah. I've seen that a bunch up in here, and I usually try to ask that to most of the people I talk to, and I know Joe's keeping an eye for it down there where he's at. It seems to be kind of a common factor in areas where there's a lot of farms and a lot of crossings and trails. I don't know why. You figure that
Yeah,
one would be able to just step right over the top of it.
yeah. I guess for that reason, I mean, there's a lot of shorter ones, but even that they should still be able to jump over. I got another another thing I wanted to talk about. But I lost my train of thought here. Um, no, go ahead, Gary. I lost the chain of thought here. What I was going to say, but
If
go
you
ahead.
don't, yeah, I was gonna ask, did you answer the question about the game camera? Did you have any luck with the game cameras?
Well, it, it's kind of do, kind of don't, kind of situation. I hate to say that, but I got one picture that I just can't describe what it is. It's so dark and it's hard to determine. But of course, it was something not there and something there on one of my first pics that I got, and it's hard to tell. A lot of people can't determine what it is, and I just don't bring it up anymore. But there's
Yeah.
something there that you know. Also, I've set up bananas and like that in front of game cams and get no luck, and get the bananas disappeared, of course, but still no pics of evidence how the bananas disappeared. They fall, did an animal come and grab them or what? And there's no pics on it, but the bananas disappear.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask you that too. Do anything special to your cameras? Do you try to hide them, or do you just put them out there in the open? Because people they
Uh,
do all kinds
I,
of things to them, and they don't necessarily work. So
yeah, I know. The best thing I know is just kind of camouflage them a little. Especially, what I believe is that if they're walking by an area that they don't, they normally don't walk by, and they might not notice, depending if there's a lot of tree line blocking. Because I think I got a pic of it walking on the other side of the brush line. There's like a thin trail of brush, and my game cam's on the other side of the creek. So when it crossed the the camera, you could just see its feet. in his legs, but you can't see the rest of the body. So which means he was crossing on the other side and could not see the game cam or the infrared or anything like that. So all the brush line was blocking it, but still picked up the snap the picture.
Interesting.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Interesting. I guess here we go with the Joe's been, he's down in that Sam Houston area quite a bit, which is a lot closer to you, and he's had a lot more experience with, I like to call them South Texas boogers. But in your overall opinion, Bobby and Joe, I asked Joe, me and Joe actually did a show on this the other day, but I have to keep getting back to it because I'm getting a lot of comments on it. In your overall opinion, do you think that the Sasquatch down there, would you say that they're more aggressive or more passive?
Uh, it's hard to tell because I've only been in this area with research. So I can't tell you. Well, yes, it's more violent here or less violent because I have nothing to compare it to. But I believe these animals can be what they will be in their situation of time, but more likely not too violent.
Cool. Joe?
And what about hunters? Do you have any experience talking to hunters down there? Is there a lot of hunting down there? I know you got hogs down there.
Yeah, there's a lot of hunters out here. I mean, a lot. I mean, and a lot of them will tell me, "Hey, Bobby, I've been hunting all my life. I've got like 60 years of hunting. Never heard it." I said, "Let me ask you one question. I mean, you're a hunter." I said, "I've been a hunter all my life. Just recently, just stopped getting into hunting." I said, "I've been a hunter myself." I said, "I've never heard anything myself." I said, "Let me ask you one question." I said, "How do you get from the property, front gate, how do you get to your deer blind?" "Well, it's a long walk." He goes, "But normally I take my truck and I drive close to my deer blind, then I get off, then I walk to my deer blind." Others will say, "Well, I take my four-wheeler from my property, my house, I drive." I said, "Okay." I said, uh, that's where the problem is." I said, "I dare you to just walk or belly crawl to where you need to get and hide in the thickest brush you can find and just lay there for a whole day or all through the night. And you tell me what you hear." I said, "I guarantee you're going to hear things you're not going to understand. But making all your rackety noise in your truck, your four-wheeler, getting into your deer blind," I said, "You're not going to see one like that." But that's my theory on that part there, Joe.
Yeah. I think I agree with you on that because even if you don't scare them off, they even if they come in and see what you're doing, they're not gonna let you see them just like that. So yeah,
Yeah,
I agree with that.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's yeah, they're. I mean, if they want to show themselves, they'll show themselves, but more likely than not, you know.
Did we lose somebody? My phone just blinked at me.
I'm here.
Joe, are you there? Joe?
Hello,
Well, we lost
I'm
Joe.
here.
Yeah, well,
We lost
Joe,
Joe.
he'll either call back or you with me, Joe? I can hear Bobby. I lost Joe. Let me try calling him back right quick, or let me
All right.
message him and see. I want to get into the other cryptid side that you've been working on just here shortly. Folks, we're having some technical difficulties. Please have patience with us. This silence would be brought to us by our sponsors at this moment. Oh, wait, we don't have sponsors. I'll have to edit this out. Okay, I'm going to call Joe back right quick, and I can edit all this out. Bobby, real interesting,
All right.
since we're just kind of talking, real interesting deals down there in Beeville. I've got another friend down in that area that it seems the Sasquatches seem to love that area. I don't know if it's the farmland or what, but it sure seems to there seems to be a greater number of them there in that small area than there is in a lot of other areas in South Texas.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can
I
find
think
it.
that Native Creek has a lot of animals, a lot of deer.
And folks, at this time we're calling in. I'll have to edit all this out. Sorry, Bobby.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you still with us, Bobby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just pick up where we left off.
No, I kind of lost my train of thought. What I was going to say, I think that's part of the reason why they might not be that aggressive down there. And I know sometimes aggressive can be, kind of a hard word on some people to hear, but I think when they don't have a lot of cover like they do up here in the San Houston, they can't afford to be that aggressive, because even if they want to be aggressive, there's a lot of open ground for them to have to travel to, and try to traverse. I don't think they're going to take that risk.
I never thought of it that way, but it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because here in the San Houston, they can be aggressive, or if you want to call it mischievous or whatever you want to call it, and then they can make their getaway pretty quick. Where out there, and they don't really have that option. So I think they probably pick and choose their points,
Yeah.
And of course, that's just a theory, and I could be totally wrong on that.
Interesting. Well, Bobby, here we go, my friend. The other day on the phone, we talked about another cryptid that you've seen down there. And I'm just going to kind of open it up with this. You not only cover Sasquatch, you cover other cryptids. Why don't you kind of go over that a little bit?
Yeah, the rake you're talking about?
Yeah. This is an interesting subject, folks.
Yeah, I've had 2 reports on the rake. A lot of people don't understand what the rake is. I've Googled it. I've tried to get more information. Not too many have that information yet. I don't know if it's a new cryptid that just came out or what the deal is, but I've had a report. Actually, my nephew, out of all people, my nephew, my mom's property on the edge of town, he was taking his dog out in the backyard, and he seen this creature. He said the dog started barking. He looked up, and there was this thing. The legs looked backwards. It was upright. It was very pale looking, big black eyes. It looked totally creepy. It creeped him out. He ran inside and told his mom, "Hey, there's something out there." So they kept on looking through the window, and his sister saw it too. I guess she was standing out there by the door in the garage. She saw it too. So there's 2 witnesses that I listened to, and then their story was exactly the same. And I asked him, "Oh, what did it do?" He says, "I think it was coming up to try to eat the food that they, I guess, they throw out on the side of the fence, like their leftovers and stuff." And it was walking up, and I guess it got caught off guard when they opened the back door to the garage, and was caught off guard and didn't know what to do. And he just stood there. But he said his legs looked backwards. It had weird legs. The body was very slender, white, palish looking, big black eyes. And he said he just turned and ran inside. So when he looked back to the window, it was not there anymore. And they didn't know how it got away or what it did after that, because they turned around and ran. And that was one report. There was another report on the edge of B on the east side that one guy was looking out his window, and it was at night. And when there was a lamppost right there on the street, and there's a big wooded area, and it was walking across the street, and it stopped before it went into the brush line and looked towards him, looking through the window. And he said he looked at him and turned around and kept on walking into the brush line and went into the brush. And he said he described it to the exact what my nephew said. But something looked wrong with his legs, and it looked very palish looking, and just looked weird, like it alien looking, maybe. That was his words. It kind of looked alien looking. So I don't know if this rake is part alien or it's just some type of animal that just come up.
That's interesting. Joe, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't really know, but yeah, I've been holding out on you a little bit, Gary, because I've gotten a few reports on that too, and I actually talked to a guy 2 nights ago about that same situation. Yeah, he saw the same thing. I
Really? I
haven't
see
told
how
you
you
about
are.
that. Yeah, I haven't told you about that. But yeah, man, I've gotten a couple reports about that same creature. They describe it the same way. So I
Wow.
really don't know what to think about it.
I got
Yeah,
in.
there's something definitely out there.
I got
Go ahead.
into a little debate online with some other individuals about this thing they call the rake being something made up on the internet. And my biggest argument to the fact was, if that was the case, then why are we having reports of this same animal prior to the foundation of the internet? The internet came out in the 90s, and I have heard
Yeah.
reports of this farther back. So there's got to be some semblance of the matter of the truth behind it.
Yeah, the guy that I talked to a couple of nights ago, he actually saw this years ago. I mean, I think when he was maybe 14 or 15 years old, and
Wow.
I think he's like right almost 40 right now, 38, 39, somewhere in there. So it was many years ago.
Well, you even,
Hmm.
and once
That's
again,
strange. I mean, that's good like here.
I was saying, you even look at some of the old reports of demonic activities and descriptions of demons, and they talk about the long spindly arms like that, and the gray skin and the big eyes, and I'm not saying that they're demon or alien. We don't. I like how Bobby puts it. We don't know what they are, but there's definitely reports of them out there, and I myself, I would personally put them on the side of a cryptid, because they are an animalistic being. And it's funny you're getting it all over the United States, and it's funny that Bobby had mentioned that to me when I'd asked him that question, and coming from that area down there, because I've actually talked to other individuals from close to that area, even farther west towards the Mexican border, that they have a lot of those type of sightings down there. So I don't know what it is. If it's something that people's just interpreting, is there any kind of animal in you guys' opinion that could be misconstrued as that animal?
Nothing that I
On
can
my
think of
end,
comes close.
yeah,
Yeah.
mine either. Just no clue, man. Just something out of the ordinary there.
That's interesting. And the big thing that gets me, Bobby, I I have to bring this in, and please don't take this as a negative anything, because it's not. To me, it shows even more to the caliber of an investigator that you are. You've been doing this since 2016, 2017, and you already have multiple reports of this in that area. So that either goes to show to me that there's more of a population of them there, or you're really doing a lot of boots on the ground, kicking the brush, trying to find information. And in saying that, how many reports do you think you have taken over, the years? Just in a wild guess, not of that animal, but of cryptids in general.
How many reports you said?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Over 60, definitely over 60. There's a lot of them I had not put down on any group or anything. There's a lot of them that sometimes, I get a report or I find somebody that seen something. They just, they don't know what it is. So I kind of don't mention it because they tell me what they saw. And it's like, well, it could maybe been this, could have been a dogman, could have been this. I mean, who knows? So I don't acknowledge it too much, but yes, I do keep it in the back of my mind because, this spot right here or this area right here, something was seen. I kind of keep that in theory of where and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot. I got a lot of stories, but on that, I do try to kick the tree branch or tree just to shake something out. And everybody knows me in where I work. They know they call me Bigfoot Bobby, and I got a lot of others that call me the same. I've been trying to, find people that have had some type of evidence or even a sighting, and I try to get to them some way, somehow. I'll find them
Yeah.
and try to get a hold of them.
So you would say that you
But
would take a
yes,
very active and motivated pursuit of the subject matter.
oh, definitely, definitely. If people know me, I can be in front of like 30 guys in a location where we're working. And once I get a little chance when I can stop doing what I'm doing, working, and I'll just come out blunt. Hey, y'all guys, y'all believe in Bigfoot? And they're like, they start laughing, and there'll be like one guy that no, I believe in it. And, you know, I'll get a story out of it, and sometimes I don't, you know, it's just, you know, like one day I said the same thing. There was like 8 guys. I said, hey, y'all believe in Bigfoot? And they all started laughing at me. And one guy goes, I do. I said, well, there's a reason why you believe in it. I told him. And he says, yeah, we pulled up on one county road, and he told us, why pull over? I need to take a leak. So he pulled up. He got down, and the brush line was like 15 foot away. He said something screamed at him so loud that he stopped peeing. He jumped in the car, and they took off. He says, I don't know what it was because I didn't see it, but to me it sounded like a Bigfoot, he said. So, you know, that's a story I never mentioned, but, you know, that's just something to think about, you know.
That is. Joe, he takes a lot of the same approach you do.
Yeah, he does. I learned a long time ago. You got to put yourself out there sometimes. You know, you're not gonna hear any stories or find any evidence or find a good spot if you don't open your mouth sometimes. And you know, I've gotten to the point now where I talk about it openly, and I actually get a lot more hits than I ever thought I would just by talking about it. It's like you said, you know, I talked about the people at work, and somebody will come back and say something. You know, a real quick story. Some guys were teasing me at work, you know, all in fun, you know. And one of our customers walked in, and my friend told the customer, hey, Joe over here, he believes in Bigfoot, you know. And the customer kind of laughed, but then later on that day, he came up to me and he says, he said, hey, I got a story for you. And I said, yeah. He says, I had a cousin that he was a Bigfoot researcher. I said, really? And he said, yeah. But he was out in the woods one day and he came across a power line and got electrocuted. But yeah, you know, it's a weird little story. I think a lot more people believe in Bigfoot than what they're willing to admit.
I would totally agree. Bobby,
Yeah.
in saying that, you work in the oil field?
Yes, sir.
That's what I was thinking. So I'm 15 years in the oil field myself. I just retired a couple of years ago.
Wow.
And according to your pictures and stuff, are you a roustabout or what are you doing? What do you do?
No, I'm a hot oiler.
Okay.
I drive a hot oil truck.
Okay.
Pumping down the wells and stuff like that.
Okay. So you're
you know,
you're
all
on
the
site in the oil.
hazmat. Yeah.
So you're on site quite a bit in remote places with different
Oh
crews.
yeah, Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, Monday to Friday, I work with Conoco. Conoco World.
Okay. That the reason I was saying. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say there's a lot of leads that work for Conoco, and they have seen Bigfoot. I've gotten 2. I've gotten another one that has found a big footprint on the Medio Creek where his property is, and I had another lead that underneath his feeder, nothing but Bigfoot footprints, and he had a situation where, you know, close to the Normanna area where he had set up his RV trailer, and when he would come back from hunting, when that little door of the RV, you know how the handle is, there was either a pecan or an acorn behind the handle every time he'd come back. And he told his buddies, hey, stop messing with what y'all doing. And they're like, what are you talking about? I said, hey, so y'all been acorns behind my handle, my door to my RV. I said, y'all need to stop. And the guy said, no, we're not doing that to you, man, so stop. So they kind of got into it. Not into it, but like got serious. Hey, we're not doing that to you. Stop accusing us, you know. Well, he set up game cams. Same thing with the game cam, like Joe was talking about. You know, they set up the game cam. He set the game cam towards his door, and the acorns weren't there, and then they were there, and no pictures, of course. And a couple of days after that, he stands outside out of his RV, and he heard something scream so loud behind his RV. I don't know how far back he said, but it screamed so loud, he jumped back in the RV and grabbed his gun. So that told me. And then he found the footprints underneath the feeder. There was water underneath, and it had he showed me the pictures of them. They were pretty big. They looked like 16-inch, maybe 16 by 6 footprints. But that's where I was trying to get, how these hunters, they hunt it all their time, and some of them don't see anything, some do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Joe, me and you had this conversation a while back with you being in the oil field, Bobby, and you. I know you kind of alluded to it earlier. I used to work a lot on site with pulling units, and we'd come up on a BOP or something be underneath, and it would look like it was almost polished. Or we'd come up on a set of tanks, and the pipes coming out of the ground, or even a pump jack. If they didn't have a fence around it, you figured there'd be a lot of black oil. Some of the crude on the pipes, and it looked like it was almost polished. And one day I was sitting out on a rig, and I seen a bunch of hogs coming up, and I was just sitting there eating lunch, and all the other guys had went into town, and the hogs came underneath the deck and was rubbing up against the BOP, getting that oil on them. And I got to doing a little bit of research and come to find out that they do that to get the lice off of them. It helps with the lice. With you being in oil field as much as you have you seen an influx of the hog population down there? Of course, everybody knows that it's growing in Texas, but I know earlier you had mentioned the deer and hog. Do you think that boom of population might be adding to the population boom of the target species?
Yeah, I believe that there has been an increase in hogs and stuff like that. I mean, I know they try to bring them down, but I still think that we're populating, and maybe that's one of the reasons why it's pretty thick of Sasquatch around here. Because they got plenty of food. But I don't, I'm not 100% sure, but it's just a thought.
I've always kind of wondered that, and me and Joe, we was talking the other day, and I kind of mentioned it to Joe, and Joe, we've talked so much, I don't even know if you remember it. I've always wondered. I've heard a lot of sightings about. I don't know if it's just because people's more out in the oil field, out in the in the hunting areas and stuff like that. But it seems like you have a lot of folks in the oil field report of Sasquatch tracks and stuff around oil field rigs. I wonder if they might be coming around either for the hogs or maybe even doing that themselves about getting that that crude oil on them, because I've heard some reports of some Sasquatch smelling like sulfur and stuff like that, and everybody knows that crude's got a real sulfury smell.
Yeah. I mean, I no telling that. I have no idea, but I mean, they could be coming up to maybe they're looking for food and trash or anything that's left behind, but I don't know, man. I mean, that's just something that we'll just have to keep in mind and see what they're up to.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they definitely come around, all that equipment. I don't know. They're curious if, like I said, if they're attracted for whatever reason. But yeah, I know, especially like up here where they got some pipeline in Sam Houston. I've heard of a couple of reports of I can't remember what the oil company is, but the guys that come up there and they start the pipes, they've been scared off for sure.
It's definitely just interesting. I mean, like I said, I see Bobby's post where he's out in the oil field quite a bit and stuff, and it's funny that he talks about asking guys in the field about the target species. I used to in the oil field a lot myself. We'd get around talking on the rigs and stuff like that, and they'd always tell stories about be working the midnight shift and hearing funny noises and find stuff moved when they'd come back on shift and everything, and you just kind of tack it up as coincidence. But as I've got to thinking about Bigfoot, it makes you wonder.
It does.
So Bobby, what we covered the rake and the Sasquatch. What is your thoughts on dog men in that area down there?
On the thoughts of what?
On dog men.
Okay, hold on. Let me move around or something. You're breaking up. Or I'm breaking up. Okay, say again. Thoughts of what?
Dog men.
Oh, that's something I've heard, but not too much evidence on that. But I've had a couple of them. But the person I talked to, they seen it, and it was like really quick. It just looked like a dog upright walking. But don't really have too much evidence on Dogman, but I know it's out there.
So you do believe in that cryptid also?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Joe, what's your thoughts on that?
Actually, I saw. No, go ahead, Gary.
Oh, I was going to ask Joe what he thought, but go ahead and finish your statement, then we'll see what Joe thinks.
Oh, okay. No, I had another guy that saw it on the side of the road, and he said it was standing up, and I guess waiting for him to pass, and it didn't run. It just stood there, and it was early in the morning, and he kind of like followed it with his head to see what it was, and he said it looked like a dog standing up about 6-7 foot, but he didn't turn around. He just kept on going. But anyways.
That's interesting. Joe, what's your thoughts on the cryptid dog men?
Yeah, I think for sure that they're out here in Texas. I don't know if they would be in his area. I mean, I'm sure they would be, but they seem to be like mostly like in Central Texas, like around the Hill Country area.
Yeah.
Of course, there have been some sightings here in the San Houston, the Davy Crockett, Louisiana for sure. But there have been sightings in Mexico along the border. So, and then even deep into Mexico. So it's hard to say if they would be down in his area necessarily. It might not be conducive to them or for them. So, but I believe they exist. If they're a canine or a primate, that's still up in the air. I guess it's up for debate in some circles, and I'm willing to listen to that argument. I think it's a credible argument. That's just my opinion. If you think of what may be a baboon type animal, might look like a giant werewolf, or a werewolf rather. So, if it's a canine or a primate, I don't know, but I believe that the creature Dogman is out there.
You was talking about the baboon type animal and stuff like that. Bobby, I don't know if you know a mutual friend of mine and Joe's. Do you know a Jacob Gomez?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't.
You don't?
Know who that is.
We need to introduce you. He's kind of down in your area. If I remember right, he's back in San Antonio, isn't he?
The last time I talked to him, he was up around Dallas area.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, that's the last. That was like a summer ago, last summer. I've tried to reach out to him, but I haven't been able to get in contact with him.
I think he's back down in San Antonio. I'll get with him. But the reason I was bringing him up, Bobby, is he actually had a very intense dogman sighting in the Waco area, which, like Joe was saying, is more central. But the way he describes this thing is there is no way that it could have been a misconception of a bear or even what we would call a type 2 or is a type 3 Sasquatch with a baboon style nose. This thing was definitely canid. And it was an up close sighting. Well, I've had having a couple of folks from down there in that Beeville area have mentioned it also, and it's like Joe was saying, even farther towards the Mexican border. I wonder if they're, how would I put this? I'm trying to think of the best way to put this without offending anybody. I wonder if there might be more things running around down there than what we actually think. I hear some sightings of them up here in Oklahoma, but when you get down in that, it seems like the farther south you go, it's like you have more reports of them. What's your thoughts on that?
On mine?
Yes.
I'm not sure. Like I told you, I've got a few reports of Dogman. Just not that long ago, maybe like 6 months ago, I was looking around in the pawn shop and I asked somebody, "Hey, you believe in Bigfoot?" And then this older lady, she must have been 60-something years old. She goes, "What are you talking about, sir?" And she interrupted, right? I said, "No, I'm just talking about Bigfoot." And she goes, "Can I tell you something?" I said, "Tell me. I'm interested. Tell me." And she goes, "Well, over here south of Beeville, I live down 888, County Road 888. She goes, my neighbor had killed a dog that had human hands."
Really?
And you know what she said? Yes. And I was so interested. I said, well, when did this happen? Where can I go to meet this person? He goes, well, I don't want to give you his name or his number, but I don't know what he did with the body. I said, oh my God, are you serious? She goes, yeah, I saw it. She goes, it had human hands. The dog had human hands. I said, oh my God, I wish I could go up there and look at these bones or see what I want to talk to the guy. She's like, I'm not going to give you his name. I said, okay, that's fine. I respect that, And she said it had human hands, and the dog was small. It wasn't huge. She said it looked like a size of a dog. And I was thinking maybe like a baby, it was a newborn or something like that. And she said, I saw it. It had human hands and feet of a dog. I said, wow. I said, what color was it? She goes, it was like a coyote color, like brownish. I said, wow, that's very interesting. I said, you know what that's possibly it could have been? And I don't know for sure, but the way you're describing it, it sounds like a dog man. She goes, what is a dog man? I said, it's this other creature that's roaming the earth. I said, it's just another one of those creatures. She goes, I never heard of that. She goes, but it had human hands. Well, back to the thing. Yeah, I say there's a lot in this area, but a lot of people don't like to talk about these things. They're very embarrassed and stuff like that, just like with Bigfoot. But I've heard a few. I've gotten a few out of people. They kind of don't want to talk about it, but then they eventually will.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty populated down here. They're more rare. I believe they're more rare than a Bigfoot. So you're not going to get as many encounters and sightings and stuff like that.
Joe, just the other day when we was talking to, the very special person in my life, you know who I'm talking about, the one that's on to work with us on the sign language. Did he not mention that same report from South Texas?
I don't really remember.
About the girl shooting the...
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And I actually called it, I thought he was talking about a chuka, if I can say it right, chupacabra. But he mentioned her shooting, and he's not even into the cryptid field. He's just got family down there. His son lives down in that area. But he actually mentioned about a lady shooting. Bobby, thank you. You just give us credibility to his story.
Wow. That's awesome.
That is because he mentioned about a lady shooting. He even went to mention that about the hands and about it having teeth, and what made me think that it was a chupacabra because he said it was smaller. That is crazy.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting.
Wow.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was a chupacabra, but she said it looked like a dog. But
yeah,
that's what she said. But no telling.
That is nuts. In saying that, I know me and Joe's talked about it a little bit in previous shows. Have you ran across anything like the chupacabra down in that area?
I've had there's a lot of different beliefs in this area. I'm pretty sure you've seen it on TV where that lady in Cuero believes it's a chupacabra, but it's more like a mange mixed breed coyote with a regular dog, domestic dog. And I believe that's not a chupacabra. I mean, I've done a little research on it, and this thing stands upright, and it has red eyes, and it's got some ugly teeth, and it's an upright creature. It don't look like a dog. But that's back in South America where they first had started seeing this creature. It was reported, but what they've been seeing around here, that it's a chupacabra, I don't believe that's a chupacabra. So I really don't know, but I wouldn't say that's a chupacabra. It's too much of a mange-looking dog. What do you think, Gary?
It does. And Joe, I know I seen that same documentary. With me being around dogs as much as I have, I don't know, Bobby, if you don't know, I've trained dogs for search and rescue and tracking and canine in the military and all my life, literally. And I've seen them when they get mange and they get real thin, which mange has a tendency to cause that. And that thing did look more like a canid, a coyote style with mange. But there has been a few reports Joe was telling me about one that, if I remember right, Joe, that you said predominantly walked on two legs, didn't you? On the north side of Houston, up in the Woodlands area?
Yeah. That was, I think that was the report I got from a lady from an HOA, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Joe gets so many reports, and we talk about them on a regular basis. I get them kind of mixed up sometimes, but that's interesting. Well, Bobby,
Yeah, that right there. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was just on a
No, I was going to say what y'all just described right there. Now, I believe that's probably a chupacabra there. I mean, I don't believe it's a canine animal. It's something upright. You know, it walks up 2 feet.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, now where were you going? What were you going to say again?
I was just going to say with you, being in that area down there and catching, not catching, but getting all the reports that you are. We before we close the show out, I definitely want to get your contact information out there. Now, what group are you with? The South Texas Bigfoot Investigation team,
Yeah, I'm on that group. I'm a member of the group, but yeah.
or are you more independent?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, yeah, I'm independent. I'm trying to get a little team going. I got one lady that's interested in trying to work on getting a few more, but I want to bring a team together and go out and stake out these properties. You know, I sure don't want to do it by myself. You know, I like to have a group of people around me, of course. You know,
Yeah,
but we're working on that. It's in the process. You
we
know, along with my book that I'm starting to work on.
book. Now you're talking. Tell us about this. I love books.
Well, it's I've been holding back for like over a year. I've got so much evidence, so much reports, and I want to put it into a book some way somehow. I haven't actually started, but I've kind of been writing things and
Hmm.
getting things like how am I explaining and stuff like that. So I'm in the process, I guess you could say, the beginning process.
Maybe I can make a request. I've been trying to get Joe to
Oh,
write a book for a while. You need to help me motivate him because he's got a lot of reports also, from the years that he's been doing this. And he just kind of
yeah.
blows me off.
Gary,
Come on, Joe. We can do it. We can do it, Joe.
hey, Gary, that's coming too, buddy. That's coming too. But
Oh,
my other projects,
good.
my other projects that I got going on, I'm gonna put them all in that one book. So that's all coming.
Oh, awesome, awesome. We do have
There
a
you
few
go.
contacts, Bobby, of in that Beeville area. Actually, I think you met them when they did the Beeville Festival. You spoke at that festival, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I had the opportunity to do it, but I decided not to.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I know who you're talking about. Baltimore Galvan and Gabriel were part of it and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I was leaning more towards. Did you meet Dr. John Morley?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely met up. Yeah, he had a lot of good information. I
Yes,
thought he was pretty amazing.
yes. He's a little bit north of you. I think he's out of San Antonio, but just a
Yes.
great guy. I mean, great guy all around. And Mr. Morley, I know you're not paying me for none of this. This is just my personal opinion of you, my friend. But a lot of good information. He might be a asset to. Have you ever? Did you listen to him speak on the foot structure of the Sasquatch?
Yes, yes, yes. It was very interesting. You know, there's a lot of things. He opened my eyes and made me think about it twice. But yeah, he talked a
Yeah.
lot of good information.
Yes. He's. I've been trying to get Joe and him together here lately also, and he's been mainly up in northeastern Texas. He's got some property up there he's been researching on and had a lot of activity, but just a great guy. If you ever he's always been real good about if you reach out to him for opinion and information. He's always been right there, and he's also a member of the network, we call it here at Poor Boys. But just a great guy. I know he spoke down there and he kind of researches that area. Joe, where is Javier from?
I don't think I know he was here in the Houston area for a while. I don't know where he's at now. I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah.
I thought he was on over towards. I thought he was on over south of San Antonio.
You know, I don't remember. It's been such a long since I really talked to him. And
Oh, okay. Well, Javier, I know you watch a lot of my shows. If you get this and you're down in that area, give me a ring. That's another one that I would recommend, Bobby, with you is Javier. He's ex-military and pretty. How would you put it, Joe? Pretty hardcore,
The guy knows his shit. That's how I'd put it.
huh?
He knows his stuff. That's how
Yes.
I'd put it.
This is the kind of guy that, for fun, puts on a rucksack even after he got out of the military and hikes like 20 miles a day. Just a good guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting in touch with him.
Yeah. He's a hell of a tracker.
Yes, he is. He's a hell of a guy. I'll send him a message here after a while and find out, kind of where he's at and
sure. Give him my phone number. Maybe we can get in contact with each other and do something.
Shoot, yeah. Another thing I wanted to extend to you, Bobby, me and the wife, as poor boys, or poor boys and girl, however you want, but we were making a trip in March to Houston. And I'm thinking about cutting back across to Beeville and seeing Baltimore and then coming up to San Antone and spending some time there. If we're down in that area, man, we'd love to kind of hook up with you and have dinner and listen to you and meet you face to face, man. I know I've been following you for quite a while now, but you got a lot going on down there.
Sure, man. Anytime, just let me know. Give me a heads up. And we're also fixing to go to Oklahoma in June.
Really?
Family reunion.
What part?
We can do a face-to-face. Let me find out my wife real quick. Hold on. Hey, we're going up there in Oklahoma. What part of Oklahoma? You know? Elk City? Is that close by?
Yeah. I mean, if you run into, I'm in Oklahoma City area.
Okay.
I'm right in the center. You'd probably run up I-35 and then run across 40 to it. But yeah, it's not very far. We could even shoot over there, and I know Elk City real well, working in oil field. That's like our oil field headquarters. But
okay, how far is it from your house?
Probably about 70 miles, if that.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all.
Or whatever.
But and I would recommend another one if you ever get a chance, man. If you're ever over in Houston area, man, look Joe up. Joe's.
Oh yeah, definitely. I hardly ever go that way, so it's hard for me. But yeah, I would surely want to hook up with Joe. Right, Joe? Yeah, I want to take a stroll to that state park.
Yeah,
he never invites, but yeah.
Well, I tell you what. Bobby, if you want to get excited and you want to have some crazy stuff happening, let Joe take you out there into the Sam Houston. That area is hopping. I mean, it's.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
I've never seen, honestly, and I can say this in my personal opinion and my professional opinion. If you say this is anything professional, that we're doing, that Sam Houston area is one of the most active areas I've ever heard of. It's just.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's interesting.
Well, I know we're running up on our window for you, Joe. You've got another interview to do here shortly and everything. Bobby, could you give us your contact information, please?
Sure. You're talking about my email?
Yeah. How we would get a hold of you? Anybody in your area that wanted to give out any reports or anybody that wanted to contact you in the groups to touch base with you.
All right. It's John_Garza 1@hotmail.com, and that's JOHN _GARZA, like the number 1@hotmail.com, or just call me 361-254-1957. It doesn't matter. It matters. Just send me a text or just call me up. If I can get stop what I'm doing, I'll get back with you. It ain't no big deal.
Awesome. And Joe, I think you would agree with me. I'd like to extend an open invite to you, Bobby, to anytime you want to come on and discuss things. I'd be more than welcome to have you here at Poorboys, and Joe would be more than welcome if I can't cover. There's a lot of times that I'm in the field and I don't do the show. Joe takes care of it for me. He'd be more than happy to get with you and have you on and cover it. Joe, would you agree with that?
Yeah, heck yeah. Of course.
Cool. I know
awesome.
Go ahead.
No, I said awesome. But yeah, we can always get together. And that was just one property that I was attending, and But I still got another property that I'm working on right now, but I never brought up any activity on that property yet. But so there's another sequence. I just haven't put it out there yet.
Oh, okay.
Especially
Well,
today, you know.
I
So
know we're kind of running short on time. I would love to have you. This was kind of your bio show. You know, I always do this
yeah,
with all these
yeah,
guys, but we have open
absolutely.
mic nights a lot of the times, and we invite people. You know, we have people come on like you've probably seen them, me and Big Dog and Joe and Lupe Mendoza. That's another one from your area down there that would be I'd
Yeah,
recommend. But have you come
yeah,
on, and I would also like to ask of you. Uh, would you like to? I'd like to have you on standby if we have any reports of that area. You know, we could send them to you and kind of have you as a field operative for us. You know, we just call it in the
sure.
network.
Yeah,
Would you mind
sure.
doing
I'm
that?
I'm available. Yeah,
Awesome,
sure.
awesome, man. That
Uh, on that. No, go ahead. Go ahead, Gary. I'm
I was
sorry.
just saying, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. On that other property, you know, whenever we get a chance, we'll talk about it. On that property, the landowner saw it running and just totally disappeared. That's another story. I mean, I don't lean to that because I've never experienced or have evidence on that,
Yeah,
but this is what they're saying, you know. So I talked to the witness, you know, so it's hard to say no, that didn't happen, but there's a lot of things that are going on that property like daily. So I get
wow,
updated every week. So yeah,
wow.
so it's kind of crazy for what they had told me, and to me, it's hard for me to believe. But you know, I never underestimate anybody. Anything's possible. Anything can happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like how you said that. You know, I don't know if I believe too much in the woo stuff, but I don't discount anyone's you know, story. I don't discount what they saw. I'll listen to it.
Correct.
And
That's how I feel, Joe.
you know, unfortunately, you're gonna get some people out there gonna tell some crazy stories, and you know that for whatever reason that story is not true. But then you get some people who
Yeah,
tell you a crazy story, and you gotta make man. At the very least, this person believes what he saw. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah. So
Absolutely. You know, I love Joe. I love how you put that, and I love how you said that, Bobby. Is you know, even though we don't know the whole story, half of the reports that I take, I honestly, in my personal and professional opinion, think that the folks truly believe what they saw.
right, correct.
hmm
Well, fellas, I know Joe, you're supposed to jump on your interview like right now, and Bobby, I know you got some honeydews. You said you needed to get done.
yeah, yeah.
I'll
I gotta take care of something.
I'm gonna jump off of here and take a little bit of a break and spend some time with the wife before I do my interview tonight at 7. But once again, Bobby, I'm probably gonna edit this part out. I want to give you an open invite, man. We really enjoyed it. We want to have you back. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about that other property, and there's a lot of other things too that I want to cover. I just didn't want to cover on this first show.
Yeah, yeah.
Of that Beeville area because I'm kind of doing a little study down there, and me and Joe will kind of get with you later on that about the some of the even the paranormal stuff that happens down there. But
Oh yeah, I got a few of those too myself.
awesome,
So whenever you
awesome,
want to hear them too.
awesome. I love it. But we're gonna have to cut this thing short. I'm probably gonna edit this thing out, and then I've got a show coming up this weekend. I'll probably release this the following weekend, which would put it. Where's my calendar here? Which would put it. Let's see. Today's the 8th. Joe, do you want to shoot for the? Have you got anything coming out on the 21st?
Not that I'm aware of. You know, it just depends on my work schedule, really.
Okay.
But
Well, I was just
shoot.
saying I don't want to overlap with you. You know, shoot for releasing this one the 21st.
Okay.
Would that be okay with you, Bobby?
Sure, sure, no problem.
Okay. And in doing that, I'd like you to send me a picture of you. You know, something that
Okay.
you would like me to put as our target art, we call it. And then if you've got pictures of footprints or you out investigating or anything, send me pictures. And then I'll use that as the fill in on the video side. And if you've got video clips, we'll do that. I kind of would like, if you've got audio, we'd hold back on that until your second show. That way we really start presenting the meat and potatoes of your investigative techniques. But
I see.
and definitely,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, give me a couple of days. Let me get that.
Sure.
Let me figure out what I'm gonna send you, and then I'll send you some video and
Sure.
a picture of myself, of course.
Sure.
And we'll go from there.
And then I'll plan on releasing this in the 21st. Do you think that'd work with you, Joe?
Yeah, perfect.
Cool,
Perfect.
cool. And Bobby, once again, I really appreciate you coming on. I know it was kind of a pain in the ass to get the scheduling in between the shows, and I'm actually producing not only my show, but I've got 4 other underlying shows that I produce for folks. So I've been real busy also. But
all right, no problem, no problem. It's an honor to come on your show there, Gary. I appreciate you finding me and coming out and talking about this stuff.
Man, I'm a true believer, and Joe backs me 100%. I love this guy because he's been such a good friend of mine over the years. Me and Joe actually met in Falk, Arkansas about 4.5 years ago, and
wow.
At an investigation, and we've been best friends ever since. He supported me when nobody else would, and helped me in times, even on a personal note. But when it comes to the show and stuff, he's been doing this. I've been researching for 20 plus years, but I haven't been as active as he is. But he's helped me so much. But in saying that, what I was getting at is, when we start doing these shows and releasing them and stuff, I always try to, run it by him. And Joe, I'm not tooting your horn here, but Bobby, if you ever need to reach out to somebody, I'm telling you, man, he's got his shit together. But we both enjoyed having you on. Joe talked to me about you a while back, actually. Joe and Gabriel all together recommended me to chase you down, and I'm kind of backwards sometimes. It takes me a little bit to get up the gumption to talk to people about it, and I'm sure glad we did, man. I'm excited. You got a lot going on down there.
Wow. I appreciate that, Gary and Joe. I appreciate everything.
It's our pleasure, man. Our pleasure.